Bring back in Helima Croft, contributor and global head of commodity strategy at RBC Capital Markets. Helima, what do we take away from the fact that oil is lower right now?
I think the market, as you've just mentioned, has decided that the Straits of Hormuz and other critical export infrastructure is not at risk. But again, we did see targeting of domestic energy infrastructure. We've seen, Iranian oil depots hit, gas fields hit, and we've had the Iranians respond by targeting the all-important Haifa refinery in Israel. So the question is, are we getting a diplomatic off-ramp? We have reports that the Iranians are seeking a negotiated solution to this war, potential ceasefire. But the question is, are the Israelis looking to end this now? Will they continue their strikes? And will this go on for weeks, as Israelis are preparing for?
Well, do you think that it will? Because there's a Wall Street Journal story, Helima, that says maybe Iran might try to put out the olive branch and have a little peace. But at the same time, I also know that the Nimitz-class carrier group is now headed to the Middle East, and the Fifth Fleet, which is based off of Bahrain for the U.S. Navy, the biggest non-World War II collection of U.S. naval assets, is also already there. These appear to be very conflicting signals.
Right. And we have an Al Jazeera report out saying that the Iranians are denying that they are seeking a ceasefire, and they're promising to intensify the attacks on key cities like Tel Aviv. So we really have to see what happens in the coming days, whether there's an off-ramp. President Trump, for his part, has signaled that maybe he needs to let them fight this out. So no clear indication that the United States is going to really try to get involved right now. The Israelis, though, are facing a situation where they have air superiority, but can they demobilize the Iranian nuclear sites, particularly the Fordow facility, where the advanced centrifuges are spinning, where the highly enriched stockpile is located without U.S. help? So the question is, are the Israelis going to continue this fight, either in the hopes the United States will come in or until they can do much more damage to the Iranian government, to their critical infrastructure, to their nuclear sites?
So, Helima, the oil price is 72-ish a barrel selling off today. I mean, does that seem about right to you?
Again, I would not be so sanguine that we are not going to see this war drag on for another couple weeks at a minimum. Again, the Israelis seem to be preparing for a longer conflict. They have more maximalist goals. And so the question is, in an extended war scenario, do we see the potential that export facilities, other countries' oil facilities could be targeted? And I think that is the wild card. And just because the Iranians probably don't have the capacity to close the Straits of Hormuz for a significant period of time because of the U.S. Fifth Fleet in Bahrain, they have targeted tankers there before. So I don't think that that is beyond their capabilities. The question is, will they resort to such tactics?
Well, that's why oil is lower, is because and if you look at marinetraffic.com, as I did this morning, or tanker trackers, there's ships everywhere. So oil is flowing through the port. Oil is truly supply and demand based with little geopolitical risk thrown in. I would imagine, Helima, that aside from U.S. naval deterrence, don't do it or we might hit you with a missile, there's a little country called China that is probably getting in Tehran's ear and saying, we need your oil or our economy will suffer greatly. What, if any, role do you think China is playing right now?
Well, you raise an interesting question about China, because China could also get oil from other countries as well. I mean, they're getting discounted oil from Iran right now. The question, though, is, are they telling them, don't disrupt traffic in the Straits of Hormuz because that's so important to us? Certainly, I think that would be a real concern of China, to have the straits blocked or having issues where tankers are targeted. But the question is, Brian, if the Iranian regime comes to believe that they're in endgame phase of this war, that what the Israelis want is regime change, do they prioritize the free flow of oil to countries like China? Or do they basically say we need to raise the costs for everybody else to try to bring this war to an end on our terms? So again, I would not rule out that we could see energy infrastructure attacks in a prolonged war situation. Again, if we get an off-ramp, I think these may be the ceiling of energy attacks. But if this war extends, if Israel is basically intent on regime change becoming the goal, or bringing the United States into this conflict, I don't think we can rule out that we could see energy once again in the crosshairs of a conflict in the Middle East.